Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm the head coach for JobSearchCoachingHQ.com and NoBSCoachingAdvice.com. And I want to share something of my own story as the subject of this video. And I'll start off by saying it's a hard thing to admit because I am really competent in almost everything that I do. And I don't make a lot of mistakes, but on Friday I was doing a coaching practicum and I stank up the joint. That's the best way that I could put it. I missed things that I normally would catch. I just did not perform at a high level. I didn't even think I performed at a mediocre level. I just was bad. And my first reaction was to do the pointing a finger and blaming the person that I was coaching, as though he was at fault for my performance. A practicum is a process where you have 30 minutes to coach someone that you've never spoken with before. You don't know what the subject is going to be, but you're going to be graded at the end of 30 minutes. You're being observed by a more experienced coach and by others. And kind of imagine it's like a fishbowl, and you've seen these scenes in movies or in hospitals where there's the theater where the surgery is going on. It kind of feels that way because there are people who are observing and they're quiet during your coaching session. And there's other participants and the head coach for this occasion who are also observing. So you've got 30 minutes, not 31. You've got 30 minutes, period. And, hard to admit, but I stank. I missed a lot of turns. And my first reaction was to blame the person I'm coaching. That he set me up. He wasn't well prepared for this. After all, you're supposed to arrive at the practicum with something to be coached on. And I get the idea he was kind of making it up as he went along. So after 5 minutes, he said, I'm not sure this is really what I want to be, I would think I would want to be coached about. So I missed the turn about talking with him about what he would want to be coached about and exploring whether or not the reason for the shift was I was hitting on something that was too close to him. But I was blaming him because in my mind, I created a story about this guy. And like I said, I stank up the joint. I don't care who you are, but there are things that you do that at times you blame others for, just like I did here. And instead of looking at yourself as being the source, you look at the political climate. You look at the bias, which obviously exists, but there's a part that you play in this scenario as well. There's a place where you criticize others when you were ill prepared for the circumstance. I felt I was prepared, but my head wasn't in it, and it showed in this coaching session. I'll simply say that where blame belongs often, and there are exceptions, but not as many as people take here, are with oneself. You don't do a good job, you blame your resources, you blame your coworkers. What about you? What about you? What's your part in all of this? So I want to encourage you, before you start lashing out like I was doing last week, think in terms of your part in this. For some reason, this played on an old message of mine that I remember hitting me up on like 8 or 9 years ago when I was attempting to be certified by a group that I was involved with to lead their weekend retreats. And without going into a lot of boring detail, I felt like I had been screwed over by the panel that was evaluating me. And I was lashing out, I was criticizing, blame. It was me. And like on this occasion, I didn't show up as I normally do and didn't acknowledge my own foibles afterwards. I blamed that panel. You don't need to blame others. it's not really useful. All that happens is if you confront them, they dig in their heels and they try to argue with you. And since they have the power and authority, they're right. And it forced me to look back at myself as I did here on Friday when this happened and look at my own part and acknowledge I really wasn't all that good. So again, blame belongs with oneself most of the time, not with others. Learn that lesson. It's a hard one for most people to learn, but you'll be much happier if you do. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Hope you found this helpful and have a great day. Take care.